This your idea?
Yeah, we're doing Westerns.
I understand that, but I'm not putting it on the hat.
No, don't put on the hat.
The hat's too small and I look ridiculous. I'm not putting on the hat.
It's a gag. Put on the hat.
I understand that. I'm not putting on the hat.
Put on a hat.
I'll put on the hat. All right, welcome to You Gotta See This Movie. We're still alive. These are cap guns. So before anyone writes in and says, hey, too much violence, just relax.
It's just a toy.
Or it's just a toy. It's just a toy.
You got the orange tip.
And I got the orange tip, yeah. So, all right, well, as you know, we are doing our top 5 Westerns because Westerns are cool. And we do think that our lists is going to be completely different.
Completely different.
Completely different. So I think we're going to go for a clear, completely different list this time. I think we're going to match with one. That's my guess.
Yeah, one. I think so.
You think so too? Okay.
When I did like an internet search, I did like, Westerns, popular Westerns, just to see what's kind of out there. There was some that popped up that I were surprised were Westerns.
The horses and the hats.
Yeah, and it kind of got me thinking, like, Holes? Movie Holes? Shia LaBeouf? Remember that one?
Yeah.
Holes? Which is a great movie.
Would I consider that a Western?
Would you consider that a Western?
Oh, man, that's like a 50-50 type deal.
Right?
Because like half that movie truly is a Western.
Right.
I don't think I would consider it a Western, though.
Okay, well,
But I wouldn't blame somebody if someone did.
Okay.
But I don't think I would.
But it did influence my top 5 list.
Okay.
Greatly. Because I said, I thought of movies that are my favorites. I thought, oh, that's a Western. Okay. I'll put them on the list.
I know when we decided to do this, I thought this was going to be an easy decision. Actually, it wasn't. As I was going through my movie collection and looking for these Westerns, I'm like, oh, that's got to be on here. That's going to be on this. And so there's some really good like Westerns that didn't. So I truly picked movies that like are special to me. So there are Westerns that are far greater.
Yeah.
But I went more of like, what's special to me? What do I like?
Well, and that's what I did too, because I thought, oh, that's a great Western.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. And I'm like, but which ones do I really like watch?
Right. Exactly.
And then that's where I went.
Yeah. Yeah. The Westerns are really cool. I actually got like, I should have brought it in just to show it off because, I like showing off my movies. For my birthday a couple years ago, I got like this spaghetti Western set.
Oh.
Some really rare Western movies, but they're all great. Like I'm a big fan of spaghetti Westerns. They're really good.
Okay, so then what defines a Western? Is it
I think it's time period.
But is it time period around the world, or is it time period United States in the West?
I think it's United States in the
West, right? Okay,
right.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like those spaghetti Westerns that still took place, or the story took place.
It's a time period, so you're talking
in the West,
yeah.
even though they were filmed in Italy.
Right. So you can't really have a Western in the 50s. Well, I guess there are cowboys in the 50s, but it's not really. No.
Cowboys in the 50s? That's
well,
post-World War
No,
War.
but there's cowboys today, right? There's still cowboys.
Yeah, but
can you have a modern day Western?
You can't have a modern day Western.
You can or can't?
I think you can.
Well, that's what I was saying. I said the 50s, and you said no.
Okay, maybe you can't have a modern day Western. Who cares?
Okay.
All right, who wants to go first?
I feel like you should be the last one, because I have a feeling your number one's going to be pretty epic. So we should end on yours.
It is an epic.
It is or isn't?
It is.
So we should end on yours. So who goes first? So that means I go first.
You go first then.
Okay. All right.
Number 5.
Okay, brace yourself.
Okay.
Brace yourself. Number 5 Western.
Actually, before you say number 5, can I just give one honorable mention? I'm just going to give one honorable mention.
Okay.
Just because I like talking about this movie, and this movie's so weird.
You even got the DVD for the honorable mention?
Dude, Charles Bronson's White Buffalo. You ever seen this?
I've never even heard of it.
Okay. It's all about them. It's like a Moby Dick, but in a Western.
Oh.
They're hunting this white buffalo.
Oh.
It also is like deals with history because he plays like what's his name? Hickok. Wild Bill Hickok.
Oh.
And it's like this fictionalized story of him hunting this big buffalo.
Who's
And the buffalo, like the effect of this giant buffalo was always so cool. So as a kid, I loved this movie because it was like this buffalo's like goring people in the woods, and people are
How
like,
big
"Oh, this
is
is
he?
crazy! It's huge."
like an elephant big?
Yeah. And,
Okay.
yeah, even bigger.
Not
And
like
so they're
really.
Like, yeah. So they're just like, "Oh, you should borrow it. You
So
want to borrow it?"
I want to borrow it.
Okay, be careful. It's got the slip.
You know,
Yeah, it's a good one.
I need my gloves, my
You should.
DVD
Yeah,
gloves
gotta be careful
for
with that.
handling. Oh, look at
All right.
that.
White buffalo.
What's on his head? He's got like a little, or is that just
That's just.
that's just, oh.
Yeah.
All right.
But that was like a movie that I watched like all the time. That was like KTLA Channel 5 movie of the week.
White-
Charles Bronson, White Buffalo.
Wow.
Or if there was ever like a Charles Bronson week, that movie was always on there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right.
What was the series of movies that he did where he plays
Death
like?
Wish.
Yeah, the Death
Yeah.
Wish movies. How many of those were there? There was a lot, right?
I don't know how many he made.
Hmm.
Maybe 4 or 5. I don't know.
The only
a
thing I
lot.
remember from a Death Wish movie was there was like a guy like sneaked through a window and he set up a board that like smacked him in the head.
Yeah.
And then like the teeth were stuck in it.
Yeah. Which one was that?
I don't know. That's the only thing I remember from a
Yeah.
Charles Bronson Death Wish movie. It's like, did you get him? Yeah. And then like the teeth were stuck in the board. Yeah.
All right. All right. So
All right, anyway, sorry.
let's get in the
Okay.
top 5. What's your number 5?
All right. Number 5. Back to the Future Part 3.
Oh, come on.
I told you to brace yourself.
Yeah, that's a
I
big
told you
one.
to brace
That's
yourself.
a big one.
Right?
Okay.
It's a Western, right?
I would say it's more of a Western than Holes is.
And it's more of a Western than a sci-fi movie?
And in that movie, I think so.
Okay,
And
then we're
maybe
good
that's
to go.
why that's my least favorite Back to the Future movie, because it is more of a Western than it is
Right.
a sci-fi movie.
But see, I went with this, well, what do I watch a lot? And I do
Yeah.
watch that one.
You do.
And it's a Western.
It's a Western. Yeah.
That's my number 5.
Did you hear they just sold, because we live by the mall where they filmed the original Back to the Future.
Yeah.
They just sold that mall. So that whole area, they sold the
Are you
developers.
serious?
So that thing's going to be gone.
No.
So time to go visit that iconic scene at the Twin Pines Mall.
Did you ever go out
The
there
end
when
is
they did
nigh.
like the chase with the DeLorean in the van?
No, I never did. Never did.
I think I did. I think we did.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
That's crazy.
it's still right now a functioning mall, but it's end is nigh. All right, Back to the Future 3, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. So that was like,
I should have told you to really brace yourself. That one caught you off
so you
guard.
went from like a fun with your number 5, it's fun. He calls himself Clint Eastwood. He's all bright, Western.
Yeah.
And
It's got a train.
It's got a train.
It's got to get the saloon. It's got
Yeah.
everything.
It's got everything.
Got everything.
So then you went with that,
Yeah.
with a very,
Okay.
my number, a very drama. It's Unforgiven.
Unforgiven.
Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven, man. This movie, obviously the storyline is hard, and but
Remind me of the storyline. It's been a long
it
time.
was some prostitutes or some ladies in a
Mm.
saloon.
Oh.
I think one girl gets like beat. I don't think she gets killed,
Mhm.
but there's like no justice. It was just like, so these women, they hire Clint Eastwood to get justice for them.
Okay.
And so he brings his friend along, Morgan Freeman, and then you got Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman plays one of the best villains
Mm.
in this film.
Is he
Burly
like
Bill.
the corrupt sheriff?
Yeah, well, he's not really corrupt. He's just like stuck in his ways.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd call him corrupt, but he definitely wasn't a good guy. Because then you got Richard Harris, who's like this crazy guy who he's having someone write a book on his like heroic exploits as a Western guy. But then Gene Hackman's character knows him and pretty much is like, this guy's a fake.
Hmm.
I don't know. That's a really cool scene. But man, yeah, you want to see some good acting in a Western with Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman, Gene Hackman, Richard Harris. They all play their parts perfectly.
And when was this made? Was this
This was in the 90s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was going to call it 80s.
No,
something.
it was definitely
No?
the 90s.
All right.
I don't know my glasses, but I want to say it was like, mid 90s.
Huh.
92 is one of my guess.
I heard a whisper from the sound department.
Yeah. But man, yeah, Unforgiven.
All right, cool. I do remember seeing it at some point. I'm gonna put it there. There it is.
All right.
Number 5.
What you got next?
Number 4. 2003, Kevin Costner. Open Range. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, the reason this one is on my list is because it's got the best, most realistic gunfight.
It's got a really good gunfight.
I think it's more about the reality of the gunfight, like how like you really felt these guys could die. It's not just like picking up guns and like having fun shooting at each other. This was like really intense.
And I guess too, it was like you watch a bunch of other westerns and it's like you just see gunfights happen all the time.
Yeah.
Like almost like this one was like leading up to it and they were preparing for it.
Yeah.
So they were like,
but even the shooting's not like, he takes like a really cool shot and does like a roll and a flip and a dive over a wall. They're just unloading the guns at each other.
Yeah. Just like what someone would do.
Yeah.
And I love that scene. It's like, who's your main gun guy? Yeah. He goes, I am. He goes, boom.
Yeah. That was good. Yeah.
But yeah, just like even going through the whole aspect of like they're riding off their wheel at the end, or right before the gunfight, they're saying like, look, if I die, you're gonna get my horse, you're gonna get the saddle, blah blah blah, all these things.
But even the portrayal of life on the prairie wasn't like this sort of romantic, out on the trail and looking at the sunset and relaxing, with your horse and a campfire. It's like it was raining, it was muddy, and their wagon's stuck in the mud, and they talked about settling down and having a better life, and it was good.
Yeah,
I really like that movie.
Robert Duvall.
That
movie plays a really good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Costner, man, he's like my generation, Jimmy Stewart kind of cowboy guy.
Yeah.
I know he did Wyatt Earp. Unfortunately, Open Range and Wyatt Earp are not on my list, but those are two fantastic westerns.
Yeah, I just like the reality of it. Yeah. It really felt like you got a feel for what was going on back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good. That's a good one. That's a really good one. All right. My next one is probably, I would think that if any movie person would say, what's your top 5 westerns, it's probably gonna be on everyone's list. And it really is a good movie. And it really, I'll show you. It is
Show me.
John Wayne's The Searchers.
Oh, yeah.
Classic John Ford movie. Probably the John Ford movie. There was a formula here that was made as far as story goes that has been copied and reproduced so many times in different ways and in different, people always refer to it like, oh, you're going to do your Searchers movie, but this is really good movie. I can remember my grandpa trying to show me this movie as a kid, watch it with him. And I just did not have the patience. But as I gotten older, just watching this movie, and it just really is a good movie. And you really see these characters really just going for it. And Natalie Wood's in it. Searchers. You ever seen it?
I have seen it, and I remember it being really good. I've been meaning to see it. I just haven't in a long time.
Yeah, like I said, like people have like copied the story of the Searchers a lot. Put it in different situations. I don't know if there's ever been a remake of the Searchers. I don't know if anyone would ever touch it.
All right,
because
I need to see it.
It needs its place on movie history. So,
John Wayne.
Yeah, that's my number 4.
Nice. All right.
It should be number 1, but there's a reason why it's not my number 1.
Oh.
So,
my number 3, Gary Cooper. High Noon.
Okay.
Is that on your list?
It's not on my list, but a fantastic film.
Yeah.
Gary
Cooper, Grace Kelly. It was funny because it's been such a long time I saw it. I was like, that guy looks like Grace Kelly. What is Grace Kelly? Yeah.
Yeah.
The marshal and the town.
That has been a while since I've seen High Noon.
Yeah. The gang's coming to get him on the noon train. Well, the criminal that he convicted, sent up to Washington or wherever for his sentencing, and then they released him on whatever charges, and he's coming back to kill him. He tries to get the townspeople to join him, and they just they all had an excuse.
Yep.
Can't do it. Can't fight. Wouldn't help him. Had to do it himself. Good movie though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. All right. So when I look at this, and my next two movies are knitly tied together with why I picked this. If I was to think about generations and if I was to ask my grandfather, like, hey, who's the number one cowboy? My grandpa's gonna say, it's John Wayne. If I ask my dad, he's gonna be like, it's Clint Eastwood.
Right.
And so for me, it was like, for me growing up, when Westerns were so big, by the time I'm watching movies, Westerns weren't as big, but there was one that there's the next two that really got me. And this was the next one. So again, yes, my grandpa, it's John Wayne. If you ask my dad, it's Clint Eastwood. If my kids ask me, I'm going to say,
you're going to say
it's Kurt Russell.
Oh, wow.
And Tombstone. So, man, this movie was so hyped when I was a kid, and I went and saw it, and it was actually, I didn't see it. I didn't see it in the theaters, but I was like day one when this thing was coming up on video. I rented it, and man, it was just so cool.
I'm trying to
remember.
remember.
Again, like I say, Kurt Russell was great at Wyatt Earp, but Val Kilmer stole the show as Doc Holliday, and he's he has all these lines. I can remember as a kid just repeating those lines at school. Like, you're a daisy if you do.
See, I remember
I'll
watching
be a
this.
huckleberry.
I watched this recently, and I got to admit, I thought it was kind of corny.
Yeah, man.
Was it a little corny?
For me, it wasn't. For me,
well, I know, but you're remembering it as a kid, and it's like, but wasn't there a little bit of?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different. No, it was this one.
You might be thinking of my next one, to be honest with you.
It might be the next one.
Yeah.
I remember watching a this generation genre movie thinking, man, this is kind of corny. Okay, but Tombstone.
No, it's Justice is Coming.
Yeah.
This is a movie I would love to do. You got to see this movie on.
Yeah.
So fantastic film. Fantastic. It needs a 4K like today.
Okay. Tombstone.
Yeah.
No, I did like the Val Kilmer character. Was good. Felt bad for him. Pretty sickly. He wasn't doing too good.
I forgot what it was. He had.
It was TB, right?
Tuberculosis.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
But Kurt Russell, okay. He's good in everything.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah. Number 2. Brace yourself. Okay, once again, I searched Westerns. This movie popped up on the list.
Like, well, this is going on my list.
I said, if this is a Western, I watch it all the time because I just love the movie. Simple, fun movie. Old Yeller.
Yeah, I see that.
It's not. You're not following.
I mean, it's not like a good guys, bad guys.
No, it's different, but it is a Western.
Yeah, I would say it's a Western.
Post Civil War, the West, and the young boy, protecting the homestead while the dad's out driving cattle. It's even got Chuck Connors in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes an appearance. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that
good movie.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's not the good guys, bad guys, shoot 'em up, but good.
Yeah.
Western movie. Old Yeller.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Old Yeller.
All
right, so my number 2, again, kind of along with Tombstone. Becoming my own person when it comes to watching some of these Westerns. Not go listen to my dad, or in fact, my dad did not like this movie. But again, it's all about timing. It hits you good, you like it, and you remember it. It's classic.
Yeah.
Young Guns.
Yes.
Story of the Billy the Kid. This one you might think is corny. I haven't even. This is brand new, still book.
I see it's still in the shrink wrap.
So I've seen this movie a lot. I have not seen the 4K yet. Just came out a while ago, but it's got a Blu-ray or a Best Buy label because
Look at
you know
that.
they don't make them. Best Buy doesn't do movies no more, so it's kind of a collector's item.
You might just leave it in.
I
That and
thought about it.
leave
I
it
don't
in
know.
there and
I
then
don't
just
know.
buy another one.
I thought about it, but anyways, love this movie.
Yeah.
And again, I can see why people don't like it. I can see like people like my dad not liking it because it had like a modern soundtrack. It had like, you know, electric guitar. It had the Brat Pack pretty much, you know, running the show.
Yeah.
But man, I love this movie, and I was infatuated with Billy the Kid after I saw this movie. And you know, I wanted to learn everything about him and who he was, but everyone was so cool with Billy the Kid, Keith Sullivan, Lou Diamond Phillips' Chavez character.
Yeah, I remember that one and thinking it was kind of.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
I'm not a big fan when they do like modern music. You know.
Yeah.
In
I can see that. I
period
can see
movies.
that. I can understand people's gripe with this film with that.
Yeah.
But I love it. Doesn't bother me.
I mean, either it works or it doesn't work.
Yeah, but I remember like showing it to my dad, and he was not a big fan of it. But yeah, Young Guns. That's your number two.
Number two.
Fantastic Steelbook edition. All right, what's your number one?
My number one is the 1960 Magnificent Seven.
Oh man, this almost made my list.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Did you see the new one?
I have seen the new one.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I almost don't want to.
It's all right. I have it if you want to borrow it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't beat the first one.
Yeah. Steve McQueen.
Yul Brynner.
Charles Bronson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that guy right there.
That guy. Yep.
Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great movie.
Yeah. Again, another movie kind of like The Searchers, where that formula of that story has been retold and redone.
Retold.
So many different times.
Bugs Life.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was one.
Yeah.
Actually, Magnificent Seven is actually a copy of that.
The Seven
Samurais, the original.
Yeah. But I don't go back that far.
Yeah.
I like Magnificent Seven to be the anchor.
The first one.
Yeah.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick. That's number one for you.
And the soundtrack. And the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we're going to get to my number one. So speaking of soundtracks.
Yeah.
Like, what is the most iconic soundtrack from a Western you've ever heard? Yep. Yeah. And that is my number one. You know who that is?
You're the Bad and the Ugly.
The Bad and the Ugly.
And the Ugly.
My list started with Clint Eastwood. It is ending with Clint Eastwood. And he's bringing some friends. He's bringing the Bad and the Ugly. Eli Wallach and Lee Van Cleef, man. This film right here. Again, I kind of like The Searchers. Took me a while to get into it. In fact, funny story with this movie.
Yeah.
Could you tell me in Back to the Future, Part 2, I know it's released Back to the Future one, so you probably don't remember the scene.
Okay.
You know, Biff's watching a Western. He's like, bulletproof vest. Classic.
Well, yeah, because this is the Back to the Future 3, the reference with the...
Right. So he's watching Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
And do you know what movie that is?
Oh, it's not Good, Bad, and the Ugly?
It's not this. Because when I was a kid, I thought it was this. And so my first time ever seeing this movie is I watched Back to the Future first.
Oh, and then you thought it was this movie.
Someone said like, oh yeah, it's the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I went and got it. That scene's not in this movie, but it is part of the Man with No Name trilogy. And it's
what movie is that?
Fistful of Dollars.
That's the one where he's wearing the Mexican blanket and
so the movie's A Fistful of Dollars. For a few dollars more is part 2, and this is number 3 in the Man with No Name trilogy.
The Ugly.
But this is also the best. And you get that iconic, all the iconic Western soundtracks by Enrico Morricone. Yeah. I mean, to me, this is it, man. This is, and it's such an epic movie too. Cool scenes, like one of my favorites is the whole idea they're trying to like get Yankee Gold, and they're dressed up as Southerners, and they see the army coming, and they're looking like, oh yeah, that's great outfits. They go, oh good, you know, they're just pretending. Like, oh yeah, long live Dixie. And when the army gets there, they just start wiping the dust from their clothes, and they find out that they're Yankees. Like, crap.
I almost watched it just so I can put it on my list.
Oh,
But see, then it's not a really.
Did you think this was going to be my number one?
I knew it was going to be on your list
Okay.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And to me, Eli Wallach's Tuco stole the movie. Like his character is so fun to watch. He's the ugly. He's the guy that's like the scrappy guy that keeps getting by and not necessarily good, not necessarily bad, but he's just all about survival.
Yeah.
And Angel Eyes, which is Lee Van Cleef, he's the villain.
Number one.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Well, man, I got some catching up to do. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Westerns are great, but I think they're hard to do nowadays. They're hard to do well these days because it's like you take a Western and you don't need much. You need a good, place to film. You need great costumes, guns.
I guess because it's a story. A story's been told over and over again.
Right.
So how do you do it different?
People are so like, they want the next big things that, I don't know.
I guess if you want to watch a Western, there's so many to pick from.
Yeah.
That you just like, I'll just watch this one.
Right.
You come up with a new one. It's just like, yeah, but it's not as good as Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Cool. So we had no matching.
No matching.
That's good. I like that.
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that wrap it up?
That wraps it up. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for tuning in for Top 5 Westerns. Let us know what your Top 5 Westerns is. Let us know if there's any of these movies that you agree with ours. Let us know if you are a fan of Young Guns, because I'm curious of how many people like that movie along with me.
Yeah. Who thinks Tombstone is corny?
No one.
All right.
No one.
Let's ride.
Still not gonna wear the hat.